So we got our first impressions of Dr. Ratio's kit during the 1.6 livestream, and now that we know that every single player is going to be getting a free Dr. Ratio when his banner comes out, it's really important that we all take a look at what Dr. Ratio is going to be able to do and think about how good he could be in Honkai Star Rail. So, first of all, starting out with his kit, he definitely has a very interesting kit, and I think he's going to be really cool as a imaginary character. So, starting out with his skill here, I'm not going to talk about the basic attack, since it is just a simple basic attack, nothing really attached to it. So his skill is kind of similar in the fact that it just does a single target damage attack, nothing really too crazy with that, because a lot of Dr. Ratio's kit is affected through his talent. But we'll get to that in a second here. But before his talent, his ultimate will damage a single target, and will inflict them with the Wise Man's Folly status, which allows him to do a follow-up attack towards that target whenever another ally attacks the enemy with Wise Man's Folly, which is really cool, just to get some extra damage on that target. Then, for Dr. Ratio's talent, he is going to have a chance to trigger a follow-up attack after using his skill, and this chance for follow-up attack, it will actually increase based on the amount of debuffs that the target has, which is going to make him work very well with a lot of Nihility characters, specifically, especially Silverwolf, because she can do a lot of debuffs. And if, I'm not entirely sure, you can let me know in the comments if this is the case, but if DOTs work as debuffs as well, then he could have some synergy with characters that can do DOTs. Kind of like, you can have like a Gwynnifin sub DPS, Luca sub DPS, because they do have their own DOTs as well. So that could also be very good. And then, for Dr. Ratio's technique, he creates a dimension that will taunt enemies, and when you start battle when enemies are in the dimension, it'll have a chance of reducing the speed of all enemies, which is very nice to give your characters another leg up to have their actions go first, but then also just being able to I think all the dimension skills are not skills, the dimension techniques, they're very nice. I definitely enjoy using the dimension one, especially Welts. Welts is really good. But yeah, that is Dr. Ratio's kit. He definitely is a very solid looking character. Now, to talk about how good I think he's going to be. Now, on one hand, I do think that he, kind of similarly to Argenti, has a pretty simple kit, all things considered. You do want to run him with characters that can inflict debuffs on the enemy, so you can increase the chance of the follow-up attack for every skill he does. And obviously, we don't officially have those numbers yet, but depending on the chance and depending on how much the chance will increase with every debuff, that's going to be really good for him as well. And just doing more follow-up attacks would make him do more damage, and I think that's going to be very good overall for him. But on the other hand, he, just based on the way that the endgame is right now, with a lot of 2 elite enemy fights, and just having basically 3 to 5 enemies on the screen at a time a lot of the times, him being a hunt character might kind of hold him back a little bit, especially with Pure Fiction coming out, which is supposed to be pretty much a 5 enemy fight all the time. So he could struggle a little bit in the endgame, but I do still think he'll be good enough to get it done, assuming that you have him properly built, you have a good team around him, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, overall, I do think that despite his possible, him possibly not being the most optimal in the endgame content, I do still think that Dr. Ratio is going to be an amazing character for players to use. I can't even say to pull for because everyone's getting him for free. And it's really just going to benefit a lot of players too, because he is going to be an imaginary DPS. And imaginary characters, they're kind of far few in between, since the only free-to-play imaginary character is Yukong. And Yukong is, to not put it lightly, a clunky mess unless you have her E6. So definitely having another free-to-play imaginary character, technically, for players who are going to be playing during 1.6, that is going to be a massive help, but I definitely recommend a lot of players to build him, because he's just going to benefit. I think he's just going to benefit everyone's accounts, to be honest. Unless you, of course, have like a Imbibe or Lune. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what you think about Dr. Ratio, and if you plan on building him right when he comes out. But with that, I'm going to end it off here. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, definitely be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell. But with that, I will see you all next time.